So we're about 2.5 months away from October, and I've been seeing that a lot of you, myself included, are already prepping for how you guys are going to decorate for the spooky season, or maybe for things like what events you're going to attend, or what costumes you're going to wear, what books you're going to read, or like in my case, what movies you're going to watch. So every year, me and my wife almost always put together a list of our favorite horror movies we like to catch every Halloween. Sometimes we like to make things a little interesting by selecting films from a certain category. And then it got me thinking about how almost each of us have a completely different answer when it comes to our go-to horror film, especially when it comes to different categories of horror, whether it be a vampire movie or a creature feature, a slasher film, and so on. And then I got to thinking some more and I was like, why wait till Halloween? I'm actually curious of what everyone's picks would be right now. So I thought it'd be fun to put together this video challenge. Down in the description below, I've selected about 10 different types of horror movies. What you guys need to do is go through that list, either pick your personal favorite for that category, or pick the film you feel best stands out in that category. And when it comes to the rules, I'm not going to micromanage, especially since I know that a variety of horror films can fit into multiple categories. And I want this challenge to be fun. The only thing that I would say I'm going to challenge everyone on is try not to use the same movie more than once. And afterwards, before you post your video, tag your friends, tag other creators. Keep this challenge going, guys. And even if I don't tag you in this video and you want to participate, then go right ahead. Either way, tag me in your video. Be happy to see what list you guys came up with. I really enjoy doing these video challenges, and I've done a couple in the past, like when Garrett from Born to Be Rad did his top vampire film challenge, or a couple of months ago when Lauren from Happy Haunts Library put out her Halfway to Halloween challenge. I think these challenges are a lot of fun, and it's a great way to make new friends and especially learn of new content creators, so it inspired me to make my own challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my picks, and I'm going to preface by saying this is just my list, guys. I'm not saying that these are the best films in the world, and by me not picking the one that you would pick, I'm not saying that yours is wrong or your pick is terrible. It's just my opinion of films that I believe best stand out in these categories. So let's get started. Now the first category is a classic black and white film. It could be from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, or it could be one that was made more recently if there is one. Now I could have easily gone to almost any of the Universal monster films, but I wanted to challenge myself to go a little outside of my comfort zone. And for my pick, I'm going to choose Psycho. Now when it comes to this Alfred Hitchcock classic, this is the only one that I've seen out of this whole franchise. I haven't seen any of the sequels or the remake, and I've only seen maybe a few episodes of Bates Motel, and I haven't even actually read the original novel. But when I first watched the original, I thought it was very well made, and I enjoyed all of the mystery, the misdirection, and I thought the actor for Norman Bates did a great job. And of course, from this film, we get one of the most iconic scenes in cinema history, the murder in the shower scene, and we also get the iconic score, and of course, the scene where they discover Norman Bates' mother's decayed corpse. Psycho is pretty creepy and pretty suspenseful, and I think that whenever it comes to this particular category, it's a classic. The next category is a vampire movie. Now, there are lots of great vampire films out there, with even more recent ones like Sinners and Nosferatu. And I could have again played the easy card and picked a Dracula movie, but again, I wanted to challenge myself and avoid Dracula films, so for my pick, I'm going to go with Fright Night. I really enjoyed this story of Charlie Brewster trying to prove his neighbor Jerry Dandridge is a vampire, who even has to enlist the help of an actor to help him take the vampire down. I enjoyed the effects, the acting was really good, and that ending with the glowing red eyes still creeps me out. I also like how they had some different touches when it comes to vampire lore. In some versions, crucifixes are either very effective or they don't do anything at all. But again, they made things a little bit more interesting for this film, where it was more reliant on the holder of the cross having to have faith in God for the cross to actually work. Pretty interesting touch. Our third category in this list is a werewolf film. And again, as much as I love The Wolfman, I think the one that best stands out for me is An American Werewolf in London. Two college students are attacked by a werewolf in England, and one becomes a werewolf while the other becomes a corpse trapped in limbo. The humor is dark, but you can't help but laugh. The design of the werewolf is pure nightmare fuel, and this film gave us one of the most iconic werewolf transformations ever. Whenever I'm in the mood for a good werewolf film, this is normally my top go-to. So our next category is a creature feature, and for me, the film that I feel best fits into this category of horror film is the first film to feature the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla, from the year 1954. Godzilla was both created by and symbolizes the aftermath of man meddling with atomic or nuclear weapons of mass destruction. And I think the original film is one of the best Godzilla movies ever made, and a great example of just how destructive he can be. And when a lot of people think Godzilla, I know that they think of the more light-hearted, campy versions from the late 60s and 70s. But no, not this one. This one can be pretty gut-wrenching, and the effects for the time were great. So if you're in the mood for a great creature feature, I would go for this one. Our next category is a ghost/paranormal movie. And for me, the one that I feel best falls into this category is a film called Lake Mungo. I heard about this movie a few years back, and I've heard from a few content creators here on YouTube where they're claiming that this is by far the scariest or most terrifying movie that they have ever seen. So of course I had to check it out. And I have to admit, I do think it's pretty unsettling. It's a faux documentary about the Palmer family grieving the loss of their daughter Alice, but they soon realize there's more mystery surrounding her death than meets the eye. And as dark, shocking secrets are revealed, they soon trace the roots of Alice's demise back to Lake Mungo. I just watched this film again the other night, and parts of it still give me chills. The story is very well told, and what helps with the chill factor is the cinematography. I don't want to spoil much because I do actually recommend that you guys check this one out, and to go into it as blind as possible. I will say though, halfway through the film, they drop something on you that appears to undermine some stuff in a manner of speaking. But guys, don't quit there. Just keep going. Trust me. There's more. Oh, also, stick around for after the credits. So the next category is a zombie film, and I know I'm probably going to catch some heat for this, but I pick 28 Days Later. I know a lot of people don't consider them zombies. They refer to them as infected, but I call them zombies. I picked this one because, in my opinion, I feel like 28 Days Later best realistically represents what a zombie apocalypse would be like if one ever happened, with a virus being spread that destroys all of the humanity in you and brings out nothing but pure rage and aggression. And if that happens, I'm a freak out, guys. I already know I'm probably not going to make it out of this one, because with how ferocious, and not to mention how fast these guys can get, yeah, I'm screwed. And not to mention, these films also show that if it's not the infected you have to worry about, it's the people who are not infected that can be a serious issue too. I also agree that there are a number of great zombie films out there, like Zombieland, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, and so on. But out of all the ones that I've seen, I feel like 28 Days Later best fits into this category. So the next category is a demon possession/exorcism film. And I'll admit, this one was kind of difficult to narrow down, because, of course, I could have easily just said The Exorcist, because it's a great film. Disturbing, and pretty graphic, but a great film. But I think for this category, the one that best stands out to me a little bit more is The Exorcism of Emily Rose, mostly for the fact that it's loosely based on a true story. And personally, I enjoy movies or books that has a pretty suspenseful court trial in it. I'm not sure why, but I enjoy a crime thriller or a trial. The acting was great, and the portrayal of the demon possession was great and pretty brutal. So if you haven't seen The Exorcism of Emily Rose, then definitely give this one a shot. The next category is a holiday horror film. And as it suggests, it's a horror film that takes place around or where the story is driven by a holiday. And of course, there's a number of great Halloween films, and even Christmas horror films like Black Christmas and such. But for me, one of my personal favorites doesn't take place around Halloween or Christmas. It actually takes place around the 4th of July. And that, of course, is Jaws. Now, I know that there's not a huge amount of focus on the 4th of July holiday, but I feel like it does influence the story quite a bit, as the holiday would bring out a lot of swimmers, which means it could result in more shark attacks. I am definitely one of those that consider this film to be a masterpiece, and with it being close to Shark Week, I might actually watch it now. The next category is a psychological horror, and my go-to would be The Shining. I know opinions for this movie are really divisive, and after reading the book, I can understand both arguments. I know that Stephen King himself has been very vocal of his hatred towards this movie. But every year, me and my wife watch this around Halloween, and we've even actually reviewed this film from when we stayed at the original hotel that the Overlook is based on. The performances are great, the music and the effects are very eerie. Not to mention, Jack Nicholson delivers a pretty convincing performance of someone who is just diving deep and deep into madness. And with each moment, he just progresses and progresses. And this movie just gets trippy. And I love how it gives you those endings that just kind of messes with you and causes you to think. With that picture on the wall from the party in the early 1900s where Jack is in the photo. That ending is still debated to this day. The scenery itself is creepy as it brings out a sense of isolation, which makes not just the characters, but even the audience feel trapped with a madman as well. So for my last category, I'm going to pick science fiction horror. And for me, the one that comes to mind is Alien. Not only are the xenomorphs terrifying, but just like with The Shining, this movie also fills the viewer with a sense of isolation because, well, they're trapped in a spaceship with limited room to move. So at some point, you're going to run out of places to run. Not only was this movie great, but the novelization that we discussed over there on Paper Movies was fantastic. After reading it, if you were to tell me that Alien was based on an original novel and not the other way around, I would have believed you. I haven't actually seen a lot of extraterrestrial horror films, but if anyone ever needs a recommendation, this one is definitely my go-to. Alright guys, it's time for the bonus round. Now this is completely optional, but if there is a category of horror film that I did not cover, or one that you just want to bring up and talk about, then by all means, be my guest. Again, completely optional, but if you feel like there's one that you want to bring up in this video, then the floor is yours, my friends. Alright guys, that's going to do it for my picks. I hope that you all enjoyed my list, and if you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And guys, again, keep this going. I'm going to tag a few creators here, and be sure to tag your friends or other creators down below. And if you post your own video, be sure to tag me in that as well. I'd be definitely interested to see the list that you guys come up with. But guys, thanks so much. You guys have a great one.